like for people at home just thinking to themselves, well, why not just plant new trees or some shit like that? You're talking about, like, we use wood for all kinds of shit, but probably the number one thing is forms of architecture and perhaps even paper, right? And so let's start with paper. If I take out an 8x11 page that I'm going to put in a printer, this thing needs to be sturdy, right? It can't, like, rip apart softly and shit like that. I mean, of course you can tear paper easily, but it needs to be like, it can be sturdy. And then if you look at a house and you're building the foundation of a house, well, some houses you're planning on, let's let that shit be there for 300 years. You need to make sure that it also is sturdy, such that it doesn't fall in on itself. So as you explained to me, when they're cutting down these trees in the rainforest, for example, they're cutting down trees that are at least several hundred years old, usually thousands of years old. And you can't use replanted trees after 10 or 20 years because apparently the wood does not have that foundation such that, you know, paper will tear apart and houses will have to be rebuilt in 5 to 10 years.
So much stuff that old growth forests offer. So yes, like now they're going in the U.S. They're going and repurposing the big old beams out of barns because we don't have trees that big and that strong anymore. They don't exist. We cut them already, and so our old growth forests are already in our architecture. They're gone. And so in the rainforest, it's not only that, that's the smallest aspect of it, is that when you have this giant tree that's the size of a living room, and again, think the home tree in Avatar, just giant buttress roots, branches that spread out. This is like 150, 160 foot tree in the Amazon rainforest. It's covered with thousands of other species. It's a skyscraper of life. And so when you have, you know, a 10-year-old little sapling in the tree, it hasn't developed those complex communities yet. It doesn't have the mosses and lichens and mycelium. It doesn't have birds and mammals and monkeys living in it. It hasn't lost branches that make holes in the tree that create habitat for other species or have strangler figs growing on it. These trees become these incredibly complex worlds of life. And so when you're cutting a 600-year-old tree or a 1,000-year-old tree, we will never get that back in our lifetime. Even if we plant a tree right now, what my great-great-great-grandkids might see it, like, it's not, these forests have been growing for so long and are so complex. That's actually one of the biggest things that pisses me off, because there's all these organizations out there right now that are like, and again, different places, different strategies, you know what I mean? Like California, there are wildfires. The Amazon does not burn. People can't seem to separate those two things.